Hey guys, and welcome to a battle of the pointy ears as Chosen One takes his Wood Elf forces to the Chaos Wastes up against the High Elves led by two Madra. I'm going to butcher the rest of that name, but I'll get to the rest of it after the battle. Anyway, should be a pretty fun matchup. Generally considered a pretty poor one for the Wood Elves, simply because the amount of shielded range units the High Elves can bring to the table here, which is pretty scary stuff overall. Looks like an early Arrows Arcanus is going to be fired off, so let's hop into the Wood Elf build to start with. We have a Glade Lady on horseback, a unit you certainly should see far more often than you do. The Glade Lady is very popular, but you almost always see her up in the skies. Have on her horse, she's incredibly fast and a lot cheaper. Early Arrows Arcanus looks like it's going to be a hit in her Elven brother over there. We do have triple WayWatchers in the front here, up in a nice little vanguard. Triple WayWatchers, pretty standard stuff for this matchup. You need to kind of hit down those key targets very quickly. And for the rest of his build, he does have Dryads in the front line, perfect for chewing down Spearmen, and then a ton of Eternal Guard as well, who are all shielded. So they've got pretty good durability up against the arrow fire you're expecting from the High Elf forces, and they can go toe-to-toe pretty good with a lot of their infantry as well. Protecting the back line, we do have double Wild Riders with shields, one of the best investments in my opinion, as it does give these guys silver shields for a relatively cheap cost. And these guys can be used to protect the WayWatchers, of course. It looks like we have another Wild Rider up on the right hand side as well. So pretty simple build, pretty kind of standard Wood Elf force, but I like it. We also have a Spellslinger of Life as well, coming in with Awakening Woods and Earthblood. Now, for the forces of the High Elves, here's a pretty interesting build. He's actually trying to outshoot the Wood Elves, which is not something many factions can do. But we have 5 units of Shadow Warriors. Now, these guys are pretty good here. They do indeed have Stalk, so get nice and close without taking too much damage and try to trade cost effectively, as of course these guys are cheaper than WayWatchers. As for the front line, it is a mixture of Spearmen, all the way dotted along actually, so it's an entire front line of Spearmen backed up by a couple units of Silver and Guard, who are really good in this matchup. They have that resistance to magic, pretty good as well at taking arrows with their silver shields, good anti-large to help deal with Wild Riders, just a good all-round unit. In the back line, we have Ellyrium Reavers and 1 unit of Dragon Princes, going a little bit more bad to the bones with their cavalry over here. And then we have Teclis coming in, of course, with the Sword of Teclis, his potion, the Fiery Convocation, Regrowth, and the Net. Net play can be particularly key here with his build of Shadow Warriors. Without further ado, let's get this battle in. Nice formation early doors here from the High Elves, kind of going in a circle formation here. I suppose like a more of a moon situation to force the Wood Elf advances down to the sides where their Shadow Warriors are going to be waiting to unleash hell upon them. And here they come. A couple of volleys have been popped already into the Wild Riders, who are currently running away, so they're not going to be getting much of a block chance here. And it's going to be interesting. I think the WayWatchers, of course, can nuke down units. They're certainly going to have to focus fire and kind of pick off 1 unit at a time without taking too much damage in return. But it looks like the Wood Elves are going to be reorganising their ranks, which is certainly a good idea here to kind of prepare for what's ahead of them. You see Teclis has already taken an Arrows Arcanus to the face. I'm actually a big fan of dropping Arrows Arcanus into Wizards. It looks like the Wild Riders get a little bit bold here, thinking of charging into the Unbraced Spearmen. A beautiful micro here, as they do actually brace before falling back. So it was good micro initially, but Chosen did have to pull back anyway at that point. So Arrows Arcanus into Wizards can be a really good idea. Unfortunately, Teclis, of course, does come with all that nasty healing. But, you know, at least you get into that healing cap a little bit quicker. Wild Riders doing their jukes here, darting back and forth, trying to waste the ammunition of the Shadow Warriors, which is all good. And oh no, disaster for these Wild Riders. They get Net of Amantoct as they go in for the charge on these Spearmen. It looks like a lovely counterplay, so really good micro by both players so far. Earthblood has been popped in to try and negate some of the damage they are going to be taking. You can see they've barely lost any models at this point, only 2 or 3. But the Shadow Warriors are certainly unleashing more and more volleys here. But geez, Teclis took absolute pounds in there from the focus fire of the WayWatchers. But he does have his potion active to give him a bit of regen. It looks like he's going to have to be trading a decent chunk of his health for those Wild Riders there who are going to be falling back. But a lovely net as well. It's kind of battled the nets so far. Down here, the Dragon Princes have been netted, and they're one of the greatest counters to the Wild Riders in this matchup. And the focus fire here, as you can see, their health just absolutely deteriorates to that glorious focus fire. The frontline engagement has got underway here. Dryads desperately trying to protect these WayWatchers who are quite close to the front line up against Spearmen. They should be able to do relatively decent here. Ellyrium Reavers, though, are coming around to the flank. So lovely flank pressure from the High Elves on this right-hand side. It looks like we may have a Fiery Convocation coming down the front line, but Chosen One does spot it and pull back, and it looks like the High Elves actually decide to kind of cancel that in order to go for a regrowth on these Dragon Princes, which is pretty damn good play all round. Shadow Warriors once again unleashing shots here into Eternal Guard, which isn't the real kind of key targets, but there are a couple more units as well floating around the back lines. The Wild Riders have managed to spot this, and they're going to be darting over here. Now, without spear support, Shadow Warriors are decent melee combatants, but they're going to get run over by Wild Riders. The best light cavalry in the game, in my opinion, also the most expensive. Going to be coming in here and hammering these guys down. A lovely rear charge, though, going to be coming in by the Illyrian Reavers. However, arrows do fly through the skies as the WayWatchers do try to assist their outnumbered brethren up on the flank here. Eternal Guard are just fighting spearmen in a bit of kind of a wet cabbage situation. These guys aren't going to be doing too much, just kind of slapping against each other. But it is going to allow kind of time for the WayWatchers and Shadow Warriors to kind of really do some decent damage. Then the back lines, it looks like the Wild Riders have got into the soft underbelly of the High Elf build here, shutting down at these Shadow Warriors. We're doing some decent damage. Nice spell as well, which is going to be slowing down the Shadow Warriors, just neuter their effectiveness of kind of escaping here. Unfortunately, the Wild Riders did get healed up, did fall back here. But Shadow Warriors getting absolutely hammered. Dragon Princes have rallied to the cause. There's still 20 of these guys. And it looks like they are kind of a half charge there into the Wild Riders. So they can use their extra mobility to dart away and pop into the back of the Silveren Guard, trying to assist the Eternal Guard. Now, for the most part, the WayWatchers have been unharassed here. They're very healthy. So even the Shadow Warriors haven't really been able to shut them down. And we do just have kind of Silveren Guard and Spearmen chasing them. Wild Riders looks like they did very effectively here, drove back the Illyrian Reavers, and the Shadow Warriors again pretty beat up as well. Eternal Guard now just out skirmishing them really, because yes, they're going to get shot and slowly dragged down, but for a cost point of view, sacrificing some Eternal Guard with their glorious shields up against all the ammunition of the Shadow Warriors is a pretty good play all round. So Wild Riders are just feasting here, doing a really good job on that right hand flank. Very close game so far, though. Looks like we are going to be getting a regrowth on the Shadow Warriors as well to try and keep them active in the late game. And things are looking pretty even so far, maybe slightly in favour of the Wood Elves. However, ammunition is going to be incredibly key for them. All three units of WayWatchers are being harassed by the Silveren Guard, but these bad boys can shoot and run at the same time. These Dragon Princes certainly want to come over here and say hello and try to shut these guys down as much as possible, make them waste ammunition, all that kind of good stuff. As the Illyrian Reavers are pretty much going to be out of the battle over on this right-hand flank at the moment at least. A lovely net of Ammontok has gone down on these Wild Riders, pin them in place, going to allow the Shadow Warriors to escape and have some focus fire as well from the other two units. Going to be doing some pretty damn good work here. These are the unshielded variety as well. As you can see, they're very close to breaking as we speak. In the distance, good diligent play coming in by Chosen One, taking his Wild Riders and hunting down these units, trying to shatter them just to push that balance of power even more in his favour. Teclis is getting relatively near his healing cap, but nice net play all round so far. He needs to be a bit careful. Looks like he is actually going to dart away as the WayWatchers try to loop around this formation and shut him down. There you can see Chosen One has taken these guys off fire at will, as otherwise they'd be kind of shooting arrows back into these spearmen and other units you don't really need to be shooting into, which is good ammo good kind of ammo maintenance, I suppose. Couldn't find the right word there. Which, is very good elite play. Looks like he's now finally going to shoot back into the spearmen to try and break those guys off the field. Wild Riders are darting back here, and we have a lovely Prey of Anafarama coming down on Teclis, who's now taken arrow fire from those WayWatchers, but Silveren Guard have darted in to try and save Teclis, and looks like he's actually going to be able to escape, net the Glade Lord, and make a brief dart for freedom here. Looks like it's actually going to go after the Spellsinger of Life here to aid the Shadow Warriors, but we'll be able to pull down the Elven Witch here, as she's not the tankiest in the world, still a hero, however. Wild Riders are darting into the Shadow Warriors now, should be able to help finish them off and pin in Teclis at the same time. Eternal Guard have popped in to try and drag down the Shadow Warriors. Looks like we are going to be getting a fiery convocation coming down. Unfortunately, the wind-up time on that thing is so long. Looks like Chosen One's actually managed to dodge and drag the Silveren Guard into the flames of the Phoenix, doing some okay damage. Nothing kind of crazy, but still pretty funny, friendly fire there. Teclis is once again having to pop regrowth on him, despite how close he is to his healing cap, as he took one too many volleys there. And let's see what the rest of the ballot is looking like. Spearman going up against Eternal Guard as well as Dryad, so no one's kind of a winner there in reality. Looks like the Wood Elves slowly getting the upper hand. The biggest problem for the Wood Elf forces here are the Silveren Guard full health unit. It's very scary stuff. If they can avoid taking too much damage from the WayWatchers, who are currently trying to nuke down some spearmen over in the distance, then this full unit with Teclis could honestly do really good work and drag down so many of these beleaguered Wood Elf forces. So High Elves certainly in it, but I would say the Wood Elves are in the driving seat at this moment with the amount of ammunition that they do indeed have left. Shadow Warriors unleashing a few shots into the Spellstorm of Life, trying to force her off the field, and she is wavering here, but should be able to rally if she gets to the safety of the Glade Lady, who is just finishing off some Shadow Warriors, which is, again, good diligent play as we've seen throughout the game from the Wood Elves. Looks like we're going to Earthblood as well to keep the hero core active, which is always, pretty decent in the late game where leadership really does become a factor. So we have a pretty healthy unit of Spearmen as well as healthy Silver and Guard here. WayWatchers trying to focus down at Teclis. Looks like he's going to be juking it back and forth, trying to waste as many volleys as possible. And for each volley wasted, the balance of power is going to force its way back into that centre. But Spearmen slowly been overrun here by Eternal Guard. In the distance, some Shadow Warriors have rallied. It looks like all the Wild Riders were eventually dealt with. Think how useful it would be in this late game to have just that unit of Illyrian Reavers left to pressure these WayWatchers, or some Wild Riders kind of hunt down all these pesky Shadow Warriors who do consistently rally to the field. A little bit of overkill as all the units do launch shots into these Shadow Warriors, but it's going to do enough to force them and away and maybe off the field. There's quite a long distance there. They do have -8 leadership at this moment. Huge volleys going into the back of the Silver and Guard, which is the best time to shoot into them when their backs are turned. It looks like that may be enough to break these guys, and I think if they can break the Silver and Guard, that's pretty much going to be game. Huge volleys straight to the face, as that Glade Lady does get the rear attack as well to try and lower their leadership even more. It looks like they are going to break here. I think it'd be well worth chasing these guys off the field at the moment. But poor Spellstorm of Life looks like her time may be over. No, she does in fact rally after taking a volley to the face, although -26 leadership it says on her card right now, so not sure if that's just a replay bug or if her leadership's actually gone up a little bit. But Teclis gives no damns, going to be coming over here and slapping her off her horse. A real kind of insult there to the Wood Elf peoples. We do have Spearmen being just completely swarmed and overrun in this centre pocket. Glade Lady not very happy with how her sister was treated there. Going to be floating over here, getting out her bow and hunting down Teclis, who's going to be fleeing for the hills and laughing and cackling as he does do so. Ammunition on WayWatchers is very low. Looks like we have 2 volleys here, 1 volley here, 1 volley here, so not too many. And unfortunately do shoot some into the Spearmen, which I think was a little bit of a waste. But it is going to finish them off. Last volley might be worth kind of shooting into the Silver and Guard here, just to force that balance power even more in favour of the Wood Elves. Ignore Teclis for now, he's pretty much out of magic at this point in the game. Just come over here and assassinate this unit, and Teclis will probably shatter and flee like the cowardly elflin he is. You can tell I've had bad experiences with Teclis destroying my build, so you always got to root against the pointy-eared princess himself. So WayWatchers looks like they're going to be just realigning themselves here, maybe trying to get that last volley on Teclis instead of the Guard, and deciding to grind them down instead with sheer amounts of Dryads here. So fast forward a little bit here as well, so it looks like it's going to be a little bit of kind of Benny Hill chasing, going around as the WayWatchers do slowly float over towards Teclis, but it looks like he's going to keep running. A prey has gone down, however, and the volleys come in and slaughter him there in one glorious volley. And with that, Army losses is going to kick in, and that's going to be a very Pyrrhic victory to the Wood Elves. Very well played to both of these guys. Finally going to try and say this name now. Madre La Sucia. I'm sorry guys, I'm horrendous at pronouncing names, but very well played to him. Really awesome build coming in with these Shadow Warriors. I really like the Silver and Guard pick here as well. I think they counter quite a lot of what the Wood Elves can bring to the table. I think the Shadow Warriors just couldn't quite get the engagements he wanted them to get. Probably brought the 5 to try and assassinate the 3 WayWatchers, but the WayWatchers using their superior range to kind of keep them at arm's length, dance back and forth and get a few kind of better engagements in my opinion. Imagine just put huge pressure on Teclis as well as taking down the Dragon Princes, which I think is pretty key, especially as it went into the late game. As for Chosen One's build, I think this is a really kind of standard way to go against High Elves. Very good competitive build, well balanced, and it's just relying on you getting those good engagements with the WayWatchers. And someone of Chosen One's kind of skill level is 9 times out of 10 going to be able to get good value from his WayWatchers if you don't have overwhelming kind of units to kind of flood him in. And with just the 2 units of Cav, it was always going to be a bit of an uphill struggle forcing their way through the Wild Riders, but a very close game. Always nice as well to see the Glade Lady on her horse, where I think she's very good, especially for the cost. But I do also kind of, fall into the trap of almost always thinking, you know what, I should bring her on a dragon just for that extra kind of sniping potential. Anyway, guys, I hope you did enjoy. If you did, feel free to give the video a big old thumbs up and subscribe for more Total War Warhammer content. We have a lot of exciting stuff on the way, including a tournament next week and a celebration stream at long last, which is going to feature some giveaways as well for me reaching the 1,000 sub mark, which is going to be pretty good stuff. Now, if you do want to have your replays featured on the channel, feel free to join my Discord. There is a link in the description down below where you can submit replays, as well as links to other ways of supporting the channel via kind of PayPal donations and Patreons and all that good stuff. So anyway, guys, until next time, peace, and as always, stay awesome.